Hey everybody, my name is Frank and today I'm going to be showing you how to use this little bit of code I wrote to import HTML templates into your static web pages via AJAX. So it's really useful if you want to do stuff like have a header that you only want to code one time and include on every page of your website, or a footer, or anything really that you just want to code once and import into your HTML pages. So here's my index for this little project that I wrote to display the code, and all you have to do, just like everything else, if you want to use the code in your project, you have to get a line just like this in your head that basically just puts the HTML importer JavaScript file into your project, and you can put that in any HTML page that you want to use the functionality with. So down here in the body, I've imported some templates, some HTML templates. This is what it looks like when you want to include a template in a certain part of your document. This right here, you just put a script tag in and you call the function import from HTML importer. So right here, I just want to put a template called template1.html in between this h1 tag and this p tag of my document. And as you can see, I have two more imports down here. That was just for the purposes of the small project that I was doing, but all you need is this one line right here. The code will import your template and replace this script tag. So your final rendered HTML won't include this script tag. It will just show what's in the template. So let me show you what's in the template. If I go over here to template1.html, you can see it contains a div tag with some content and another script tag. Now the cool thing about this importer is that it will execute your script tags for you without the use of eval, which has like some security issues, and I decided just to avoid that because who wants security issues with their code? So it'll actually execute the code, and right here the highlighted line actually imports another template inside of this div tag, which is a template itself. So it can upload template code into templates as many times as you want. And if I go to template 2 here, it goes ahead and imports template 3 inside of this div in template 2. So it's really versatile. You can use it to make your HTML really modular. So it's pretty useful. So let me go over to Chrome and show you guys the example. I have a little server running here in my terminal. It's just a node server that I wrote to serve the files, just a static server, just like you'd see on GitHub, which is the reason I wrote this, to host a GitHub page. So going to paste in the IP and port number, and here we have the working example for HTML importer. So this little prompt right here just says this script is from template 1. If we go back to template 1, we're going to see right here the message, this script is from template 1. So all this page does is just give an example of the capabilities of this function that I wrote. So it goes through, and every template has its own little prompt. But basically, it allows you to insert templated code into any part of the document you want and run scripts from it as well. So it's really handy. It's something that I couldn't find easily on Stack Overflow. I had to do a lot of legwork myself. It took me probably like 8 to 10 hours to figure out how to do this, and I think it was well worth it to do, because I don't want to rely on something like Jekyll to pre-process my pages, my static web pages, and I like AJAX. It's smooth, it's easy, and it makes your site dynamic. Now, one thing to note before I get into the actual HTML importer.js file is that I don't recommend using the importer in the head of your document to import things like metadata, because using AJAX to import things like metadata could possibly prevent Google web crawlers from seeing that metadata. So say you have a description for your page in the metadata section. You don't want to import that because it's not going to be in the original index.html file or whatever your original page is, and the web crawler might not be able to get that information. And Google itself actually recommends that you avoid doing that with AJAX, like adding these meta tags with AJAX after the index page is loaded. So that's just a warning, but that's for all AJAX sites. They warn against doing that. So, but it works fine if you just want to import your code. So anyway, let's get to the actual code, and here it is. So this is just a utility function. There's only one function in it, the import function, and I defined some variables up here. This is error, just handles errors. The load handles when your AJAX sends out a request and it successfully loads from the server. Script, this just refers to the current script tags that is executing. So if I go back to my index.html, when this executes this script tag and it calls HTML importer.import right here, this is a reference to that script tag, and I use document.currentScript to get that. And this shouldn't fail for any reason, but if for some reason it does, document.scripts holds a list of all the scripts in your document, and the last one to execute is the last one in the document.scripts array. So this is just a reference to your script, and I keep this in order to remove the script after I add the new templated HTML code. So I'm going to go down here. All we do is create an HTTP request. We add event listeners for error handling and loading, and you can probably replace these with what is it called? I can't remember right now what it's called, but there's another way to do this. OnReady state change is what it's called. So you could use OnReady state change, but I made this real quick and I just used error and load events. So you send out a request for the file. In this case, it would be, for the example I'm going to show, is, let's just say this first one, which requests the URL template1.html, which is this code right here. So sends off a request for that file at the URL, and if an error is encountered, it'll just, this is lame error handling, but that'll just say there's an error. And loading, this is the important part. So if the AJAX sends a request to the server and the server sends back information, this function will be executed right here, and this is where the magic happens. So I'm going to wrap the response text, which is all this will be returned by the server as plain text, and it's going to hand it to the load function here as this response text right here. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to create a div element, and I'm going to set its inner HTML to equal the response text. This will create HTML elements from that plain text with, HTML format. So that'll create the elements. For template 1, it's going to create a div with a p element and a script element. It's going to create this in the HTML document. So that's what we want it to do. Then what it does is it gets the scripts tag, and this is very important. It gets all the script tags out of that template HTML that is now stored in the wrapper div. So it'll get all those script tags, and why we have to do this block of code right here is because when you create script tags and add them to the document, and you use inner HTML to create those script tags from plain text or HTML formatted plain text, but this right here, this response text, is just plain text, and it creates HTML tags in this wrapper div. And when I add that to the document, it's not going to execute those scripts. So I want to execute my script, so what I do is I get a list of all the script tags in the wrapper div, after I set the inner HTML, I loop through all those script tags. I get them, I store them individually in old script, and I create a new script with document.createElement script, and I set the new script's inner HTML and attributes list to all the attributes and inner HTML of the old script. And then what I do is I come down here and I replace that old script with the new script. Seems a little redundant, but by doing this, it will prompt the document or the DOM to execute your script tags, which is completely necessary to do. And this will allow you to execute your templated script tags without using eval, which I guess has security risks attached to it. So you want to avoid that. So after you replace all your old script tags, you're going to want to remove this wrapper div from around your templated code, because you don't want to throw a wrapper div around the code that you're importing, because that might mess up the layout of your document, and you can't have that div in there if you want your layout to be exactly the way you expect it to be. So what you do, it's really easy. You come down here. I actually found something like this on Stack Overflow, and I tweaked it a little bit to fit my own purposes. And basically you loop through all the children in the wrapper div, and you say you have that reference to the script tag. You just insert each element inside the wrapper right before the script tag. So it'll come in here in your template 1, it'll say, okay, this is the first element in the wrapper div, and we're going to attach it to the document right here above this script tag. Then it will come back here and it will say, here's the next element in the wrapper div. We're going to come over here and we're going to also put that right above the script tag right here. So that's all that does, and in the process it removes those elements from the wrapper div. And then I guess the wrapper div is just garbage collected, which is what you want because you don't want to keep it around. So then we set the parent node of the script tag to remove the script tag itself, because we no longer need that script tag once it calls HTML importer.import. So what this allows us to do, I'm going to go back to Chrome and show you this. I'm going to open the developer tools. In your rendered page, you're not going to be able to see the script tag that imported all of this stuff right here. Those script tags disappear because they're no longer necessary. So if you look right here, we have our body element. Right under that is our header. And then we no longer have that first script tag. We have a div. And if I bring you back to the source HTML for the index page, we see we have that h1 element, and then we have the script tag. This script tag, once it imports this template 1, will be removed, and all that will be left is the code inside of template 1, and that will be located right here where the script tag used to be. So that's really useful if you want your rendered page to look nice and clean and avoid having all those extra script tag elements floating around your document. So that's really nice, and that's basically it. That's all it does. It's a short little JavaScript file that allows you to put dynamic content into your page, into your static web pages. So I think it's really useful if you want to do like a header or a footer that you don't want to hard code into every page on your website. You just grab the source code right here and include it in your document like this. You put the source file right here in your projects folder and you throw it into the head of your script, or the head of your document, sorry about that. And then wherever you want to insert a specific template, you just drop a script tag with HTML importer.import and the link to your script tag. Just like that. It's that easy. And then after it calls that import function, it will remove this script tag from your document. You can place it wherever you want. The imported code will go right where you expect it to go in your document. All of the all of the scripts in your templated code will run, and it's super useful. So give it a download, give it a try. If you decide to tweak anything and you make the code smaller or more useful, more efficient, hit me up, let me know, let me see what you did, because I'd love to make this a little bit better. You can find it on GitHub. I have a GitHub page. It's at frankpoth.info, or you could also go to the GitHub page itself at frankarendpoth.github.io. That's my GitHub pages page. So if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be trying to do more stuff like this. I want to stick to gaming code and game reviews, but at the same time, what good is it to make a game if you don't have a nice website to put your game on, right? So this will help you get out there and build a static website with some dynamic content, hopefully help your website, be more easy to maintain, and that's what I'm going to use it for. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one. Bye.